Thursday, November 26th. We are here for a special edition of the Deep In Happy Hour. We got the regular crew here. Hopefully, everyone's having a fantastic evening before the holiday. Man, Thanksgiving's here. The market's rebounding a bit after the last 6 weeks were, I don't know what other way to put it except for brutal. It's been a very trying time, but guys, we've been showing up every day. Appreciate the people that are attending in the audience today. You all been showing up too. Give yourselves a pat on the back, because I think that we have brighter times ahead. How's everybody doing tonight?
Can't complain, man.
Can't complain.
I think it's funny. I have a homie who I think he's a little bit more bearish, and he says like this rebound is a bull trap.
Could be.
He even said price targets for Bitcoin at 69K. No jokes.
No cap, no lie.
No cap.
No cap, fam. No cap.
Could be. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you look at the last bear market. We've been retracing to the high of the prior bull, bull market. So that'd be right at the height of the last bull run. So I wouldn't be surprised, man, if we get there. I just don't know if it's going to be now. But we have to see how this plays out. That liquidity event on October 10th really messed things up, man. It really did. I mean, you got to think to put this into perspective, and this is wild. Like, a lot's happened in the last year, man. We hit 100K Bitcoin for the first time, like December 6th or something like that. So not even a year ago, right? And then we had an all-time high of Bitcoin back on October 6th. So, not that long ago. Yeah. and then October 10th happened, and everything just got absolutely obliterated. And I think it was not just a normal washout. I mean, I put a video out on this. You guys might have seen it, but it was definitely a black swan event. I mean, there's definitely a pricing issue on Binance that really made that a lot worse than it should have been. And I think we're just kind of dealing with the fallout from that. And then you add the fact the 4-year market cycle happened to just overlay that. So all the 4-year market cycle people are like, see, I told you. Mm-hmm. Everyone's selling. They're like, they're right. It was like the guy on Reddit was right.
So, he was right that one time. Out of the 300 times he's been wrong. He's been right this one time.
Have you seen that post though? That is crazy. The one where he 3 years ago he called the exact date of the top.
That was crazy to the T.
Mm-hmm.
To the T.
That was some trippy shit. But I mean, he just used historical evidence to support where he thought the date would fall. I mean, is it coincidental? I don't even know. Right?
I don't know. Fuck history. This is an extended market cycle.
There we go, Brad. There we go. That guy's feeling. He's riding a high right now. That guy's definitely riding a high where he's like, "Told you so." Look, I know what I'm talking about.
I mean, I do think cast out.
I do think most of the sentiment is overly bearish for no compelling reason. I don't know. I think you guys may have seen Santiago Santos's post not too long ago about how we need to. I'm ready to eat. Yo, facts. Let's talk. That's my man 619. What's going on? But I was reading. I hadn't read the entire thing, so let me just preface right there. But just off of some of the commentary I've seen around that article, it looks like he's kind of saying that crypto today is a bit overvalued. And I could
Santiago.
Oh, okay.
The Inversion Capital founder. Mm-hmm. It was a very well written article. What I appreciated about that was that he took everything that I've been thinking in my brain and eloquently put it out in a very succinct, very contextualized, way. It was a great write up.
I definitely need to take a minute to read through it, but have seen a lot of commentary on crypto Twitter. I mean, I feel like that's what's indicative of things that move social, right? Is if you're able to say what a lot of people are thinking out loud, then that's really going to start to stir a conversation. So even people kind of, I guess, attacking him or let's just say taking a contrarian view to him, right? Being able to, if they're not able to lay out a thesis or their reasoning behind why crypto should be valued at what it is, I feel like it just kind of plays into his point. So,
well, I was listening to a podcast today too with I don't know if you guys listen to Raoul Powell's Journeyman podcast. Sure. He had a guy on, I think it was last week, and they were talking about how a lot more investors are looking at fundamentals as opposed to the hype and speculation. Exactly. Yeah. And so when you look at fundamentals, you look at 24-hour fees generated by these protocols. They're not generating that much revenue. And like if you look at something like Helium, even Helium, for instance, like the Premier DeepIn, it's generating more revenue than like the top protocols. Yeah. It's like in 5th place on fees generated.
Yeah, layer ones are super overvalued. I would argue. I mean, I haven't read that article that Tyler's talking about, but I personally think Bitcoin at this point is oversold. And I think it'll go much higher. I think layer ones, though, are tremendously overvalued. You look at the top 100 projects, the vast majority of them, I would argue, are very overvalued.
Unless, of course, you're talking about Monad, right, Brad?
No comment.
I thought you were going to say Mog for a second.
No. It's not a layer one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tyler, like, give us some background on the article or like a summary, I guess.
I mean, there's a couple different points in there, but I think one of the key the pieces to underscore is exactly what you're saying, which is like we went from this, okay, we're not really sure what the value capture mechanism is going to be or what these systems are capable of, to having a better understanding of kind of where the puck is going, if you will, with respect to the L1s. But that we are still in this place of like, okay, we know that the market's maybe going to grow in terms of what they can satisfy, but they're not going to fundamentally rule the entire internet, and everything's not going to be based on top of that. And moreover, when you look at the fundamental basis of what these things should be worth based on, the metrics like revenues generated, fees, there's sort of a few different ways you can split that out, but it's very, very difficult to justify the current valuations. As a matter of fact, one of the recent investment memos that I had put together was exactly looking at that, as like, you look at some of these PS ratios or they're not always 1-to-1 between networks, but like, you've got top 10 protocols that are trading at like a 7,000x from what they're actually generating from a revenue standpoint versus what the market cap is. And there's all these what I'd call like bullshit metrics that people use to justify it. They'll say like, oh, well, there's 16 like $16 billion in TVL. Well, that's a gameable metric. That doesn't fucking mean anything. As a matter of fact, if you want to listen to another good conversation about it, I think I brought this up once, but one of I think she was the head of something at Solana, but she had a really good conversation with Laura Shin from the Unchained podcast, specifically talking about like how all these metrics that are used are really A, gameable, and B, they give kind of false leading indicators about what the value should be of these different networks and protocols. And so I think nobody's at this point debating on whether like crypto or kind of these Web3 rails are going to go away or they're going to stay. I think the real question is like, now that we see where the use cases are, where are we at in the market cycle for the penetration before they hit maturity? And then moreover, what does the actual relationship to fundamentals need to look like? And in most cases, it's very difficult to say that anything that's happening right now is not overvalued. So,
yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, the TVL thing's funny. I remember in the last market cycle, I'll just like look at like DeFi Llama and it's just like, okay, which TVL chain is taking over this week, and then all the money would just flow there, and then they'd like roll the TVL to the next chain. I remember like Phantom one week just like went parabolic, and I'm like, this is crazy, man. Phantom, like FANTOM, not the
wallet,
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think a lot of people like in the last market cycle is like, okay, this is going to be the future of everything. And like, it is starting to happen, but I think everyone's just like, what's going to be the next ETH? And it's just, the fees to this, up to this point before the adoption we're starting to see was just, I mean, in a bull run, you had more activity on the chain. The fees generated were higher. And then in a bear market, the activity wasn't there. It's all degen activity.
Yeah.
Once we start to see the rails move over, I mean, then you see like, I posted earlier, this is like a news from a few weeks ago, but Western Union's like CEO is talking about everything's moving to blockchain. You start seeing that type of shit, and it's like, okay, this is real, but what's the proper valuation, for these L1s? And it's hard to really justify $400 billion market cap. I mean, that's like freaking nuts.
Yeah,
Brad,
there is an argument that people make that I agree with to some extent, but I don't know how you factor this into a valuation model, which is like how much economic activity these things support should be a factor in what their value is. Which you can use an argument that could bridge the gap to some degree, but at the same time, like if you look at some of the underlying protocols of the internet, like we would be screwed if they went away, but they don't inherently generate any kind of value that would justify some of these valuations. Maybe if people had to pay for it so that it didn't go away, they'd be more willing to. But I don't know. I even if you use that as like a rational investment thesis, like how much weight do you put on it for either A, trying to justify, or B, where's the floor at for what these protocols should be worth?
Yeah. You know what? I agree, man. What I'd love to see though is they start looking at the revenue generated, and then they see like 10 deepen projects above all the L1s that are valued at like 100 times.
Yeah,
projects like, that's interesting. Like, what's up, Brian?
What's up, guys?
What's up, Brian? Yeah.
Brian, what's up, dude?
Yo, I didn't mean to take over the screen for a second. I just wanted to share something to support what we were saying to our audience about, there are chains supposedly out here. Am I frozen?
No, you're not.
You're good.
There are chains out here, XRP,
Careful,
Cardano.
XRP. People get crazy about XRP.
and what's nuts is they're still valued at top 10 coins on the market. Like,
yeah, but Quez, you didn't know that they're going to take over Swift and they're going to move trillions of dollars a day.
Exactly.
You're going to replace Wells Fargo. Just wait.
My yeah, whatever. I bring this up just because like my cousin started talking to me about XRP, and I was just like, brother, if only let me save you, my son. So yeah, no, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Brian, what's going on, brother?
Wait, Clay, you're not an XRP fan?
Yeah, we're all Ripple boys. This is the Ripple podcast.
Oh,
Brian, are you a Ripple? I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not. Okay.
No.
I would think that you're not a XRP maxi, but
I'm not.
Yeah, honestly, I think what we're seeing here, boys, is we've seen this kind of vision versus reality, right? So like the vision of what we've like been seeing with this technology, like it's obviously like way out there in the future where, Brad just mentioned Western Union, among other people, are like, oh, blockchain's the future. Like that may be true, but one, which blockchain is that? And two, like what's it look like, right? So we had this vision and all this hype hit the market early on, and then you have people asking, what's the next ETH? Well, in reality, I don't think there will be another ETH in terms of the massive rampant growth that happened with ETH. Like granted, we could see that happen in like things like DeFi, of course, but like I don't think it's going to hit the same way, if that makes sense. Like the market is at a maturity rate now, is at a level of maturity now where you like beforehand, ETH and Bitcoin were like novel, right? They're like these novel concepts. Everyone's like, oh my God, I've never heard of that before. What? Like, that's crazy. You can like, write smart contracts. What the hell? But now we're at a point where that's like so normalized that the next ETH is probably going to be something like robotics, where like that's the next rampant growth cycle where it's like robotics and physical AI, some shit like that.
I don't know. As the chief resident ETH bull maxi, I don't know if I totally agree with that, only because I could see where the Stripe chain just starts to pull all of the money that they currently facilitate on the businesses that they serve, right? The people that are already using Stripe payment rails, and then bringing them on the Tempo. Like,
yeah,
that might be purely off of the revenue they're generating from those vendors using their chain. That might absolutely destroy ETH at its own game. You know what I'm saying?
Base is going to be big too. Like I think there's a lot of value going to ETH, and especially like Quez has told us a million times, ETH's going to $80,000, guys. So
140K. Right, you got to rise your
140K.
Raise your target.
All right, man. $140,000, baby.
Happy Thanksgiving, Empress. Thank you.
Empress.
That'd be huge.
What's up?
What's that? What's ETH at right now? Like what? 30.
It's at $0.
30. Yeah. Yeah. It's how much I own an assorted amount of ETH. It's all just stuck on some chain somewhere. I forgot about it because it was just so annoying to get off. So
yeah, Ethereum's annoying. Like unless you're using a layer 2, like using it, doing anything on Ethereum is so annoying. The gas fees are so obnoxious.
L1 is crazy. I agree with that.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I feel like ETH, going back to where the value is being ascribed to in terms of, things that aren't just directly transaction fees. I think ETH is one of the best examples of that because, I know Quez likes to bring up the argument all the time that all of these large stable coins, they've got a massive presence on ETH. They support all these L2 activities. And so that's one of those chains where, like, if you look directly at the revenue generated, there's seemingly a very large disconnect between the value and the fees that are accrued to the protocol. But they do support a lot of economic activity through L2s and through other things that, it's like, again, how much does that factor into what the valuation is? I don't really know, but that's maybe the best case of the market is clearly saying some of that is baked into what it should be worth.
Some people will call what I'm about to say cope, but I'm just going to voice again the voice of all Ethereum maxis through me. They are the vindication of them right now, which is that if two adversarial nations needed to negotiate terms with each other, the only chain on the planet that they could say truly is credibly neutral is Ethereum. Like, point blank.
Why not?
Why would they want to do it on Solana, a United States backed chain, like a venture backed chain based in the United States? One might make the argument an opponent to the
Are you saying like tokenizing the treaty?
No, I'm saying that if there's ever a time in which a transaction needs to occur between two nations that are adversaries to one another, the only medium that they could use in which they know that neither party has proven, either in history or today, proven that there's a benefit to either party, like basically playing on my turf or playing on your turf, the only credibly neutral chain is Ethereum.
What about Bitcoin, though? What about Bitcoin?
Well, but what are you doing on Bitcoin besides sending money? Like just.
But you just said send a transaction, though, so that's why I was saying.
Settling type of transaction. Like I'm being too general for sure, but like.
Okay, so you're talking about like an actual tokenized transaction, like maybe like a collateral settlement, like something that's a little bit more complex than sending Bitcoin from one address to another. Okay, yeah,
absolutely,
that's an argument. That's an
argument. To answer Tyler's question, that's actually where I would say at the highest level is perhaps what most Ethereum maxis ascribe value to, more so than just stable coins settling on Ethereum. Because I mean, like I can make the same argument for stablecoins settling on Solana, right? Like just being accessible, moving a lot of capital around the network. Like I don't know if that's like the sole.
I mean, the problem is that you're ascribing value to a theoretical.
Exactly, for sure.
At some point, when you're projecting in the future, you always have to be able to try to factor in the various outcomes and things that are. But the likelihood of that, in my opinion, is like a sub 2%, which even if you were to assume, okay, there's.
I love this, Brad. I love this.
That's a true method acting. I mean, come on, man. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah. I mean, even if you assume that there's like a 2% likelihood of that, the value of said transaction, maybe the intrinsic value versus the extrinsic value, like there's you can make the argument that the extrinsic value of that should justify it, but like that's not how these things should work, right?
Sure.
Like
I mean, again, that's why I said this is probably.
It's like in the future, Amazon's going to be shipping your packages in 2 days from Earth to Mars, and therefore,
Tyler just got censored by.
Yo, what the hell was that?
Yo,
you guys hear that beep, beep, beep?
What was that?
It's still beeping.
Tyler, you okay?
You're a robot, brother.
Tyler, give us like an okay symbol if you're okay. You're okay.
Is he getting abducted? What's going on over there?
I feel like
what is that?
It's a metronome. It sounds like it's a metronome.
Bro, you gotta turn your mic off.
It's giving me a headache.
Turn that Ableton off.
It can even come back, I think. Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah,
goodness.
I think he got censored by somebody.
That was crazy.
Didn't want him to finish.
We were talking shit about Ethereum.
No.
So Alex showed up and was like, "Nah."
Well, he said something about Amazon and Mars, and then there's like, boom.
Yeah, they were like, he knows too much. He knows too much.
He's still there, Tyler.
Again. Tyler, I'm removing.
FBI tapped in. I'm out.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
oh my god, dude.
Damn.
That's weird.
Share that comment, Mr. William.
Use a 619.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
They
found us, man.
Joe asked what we're talking about that's so special. Joe, we're gonna talk about you. You're very special, buddy.
Exactly.
Just off the crypto.
Right.
Very, very
Let's see
special.
if the FBI is still tapped into Tyler's feed.
Is it better?
He's back. He's
Yeah.
back.
What happened?
Nice,
I don't know what
nice.
happened, but I like fucked with my mic plug-in, and right when I did that, it seemed to have made everything go bad.
I was making like a beeping noise. I was like,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, the FBI's tapping in.
Yeah, no. So what I was saying about Amazon and Mars is that the example that Quez gave for value that could be attributed to what would make ETH valuable with this hypothetical that's probably A, never going to happen, and B, very, very low in the case of maybe it would, is like saying Amazon's going to deliver your packages to Mars in 2 days, and therefore they deserve like a multi-trillion-dollar valuation.
Right. Yeah.
It was just a silly.
Again, hence why I said I just want to make sure that I'm clarifying this for our audience and my peers here, which is that like this is not my single way of ascribing value to Ethereum, but I being in the circles that I'm in, that is something I hear about quite frequently, and I would say that's like because
need better circles, Quez.
Yeah, just straight up. See, but like that's just how I know I need to. I'm trying to be the dumb one in the room, you know, as much as possible.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've said this publicly a bunch of times, which is where I used to genuinely think that there was a bigger value opportunity in a decentralized compute platform than there was in digital gold. I'm like, well, if you just look at the value of the internet versus the value of, gold, of like you took all the, top market caps of Apple, Microsoft, whatever, all the commerce that happens. I'm like, yeah, you could see that being the case. And then it happened or didn't happen, I guess. And execution became the real thing that mattered. And I've changed my view on that. I sold out of my ETH. So
you did before the pump.
I did not time it quite well, but I did sell out.
Timing is everything, Tyler.
It doesn't look so bad now, though.
Timing is everything. I still would have made more had I held a little bit longer, but it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. The worst part about my ETH holding was that was through to the thing you shared a little bit ago about the 4 more years at 3K, was I held through every single pump of Ethereum and didn't sell, and then timed it not so great, but
got to take those profits, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like I
mean?
sold. Yeah, profits. Who takes profits? That means you got taxes to pay if you take profits, right?
Exactly.
I was gonna say, oh my! I lost my train of thought. Holy crap!
By the way, Brian, can I just say to deviate us a little bit is that you've got the perfect, like it looks like a helium connectivity bar, but it's for an old fashioned behind you. I see the bitters, the simple syrup, the cherries, the bourbon.
It like layers up. Yeah, I love that.
So here's the story.
You're raising the deep in bar, to quote Singular.
Yeah.
Hey!
This is a good bottle of whiskey, by the way. Old Emmer. This is my favorite bottle of whiskey. So I used to do old fashions. Like that's what me and my wife's drink at home. I have not done a homemade old fashioned since the house fire, and I've yet to do it. So we're about to start doing old fashions again. So I had to stock up, and we're about ready to go. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just sentimental like that, but I'm ready to get back on the bandwagon of having an old fashioned every once in a while.
Bacon and old fashioned, right? He's bacon and old fashioned.
That's right. So anyway.
Well, speaking of an old fashioned, I'm gonna do an old fashioned move and grab another round.
Oh,
damn. Okay, Quez.
Come on, man.
So I was going to say one thing that is very interesting. Actually, what would have been a really good play is to buy into helium before the announcement that AT&T, the issue with AT&T was resolved, because then it had that 33% spike, that jump, within 24 hours after that announcement. That would have been a really good play. If only I'd known. So
yeah.
If only I'd known. But I did sell off my most of my H&T stake at I think $3.19, which is still better than what it's at now. So I can't complain too much.
Yeah, I was telling Tyler before the pod before we went live, actually, I'm taking a lot of the revenue from my Helium mobile deployment business, and I am still allocating a little bit to an H&T treasury within the business, but I am taking a large chunk of the revenue earned, and instead of cashing out completely, I'm taking that and buying ETH token because it's on Kraken, and I use Kraken for my business. So I was like, oh, this is easy. I was like, this is an easy play. It's just dump money into ETH.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. So, but like I think part of the issue with DePIN probably as a whole is because like DY, you pretty much have to scale horizontally. You can't really scale vertically. So you're constantly going out and getting like new properties, but you have those splits and you have to fund those splits. So it's not like you just deploy, buy a bunch of hardware, it's all running and it's doing. You actually have to pull out the value and have to transfer that over to your host. So, and I know there's a lot of like large deployers that's what they have to do to survive. They have to please their hosts. So it doesn't surprise me that we're seeing H&T kind of, and some of the major defenses kind of flatline.
To 619's credit here too, with this company, he's like, yeah, I dumped my H&T bag around that time too. H&T is a stablecoin. I like it as a stablecoin. I like it a lot as a stablecoin. I think it should at least be a stablecoin at the bare minimum to justify deploying more units.
And taking the risk when I already have tons of their hardware investment. Yeah, and I think that kind of goes to the point that a lot of us are. I don't think we're all like cynical. Like even though you look at like our private chat and we kind of appear cynical on DePIN right now. I just think we're very realist, and we kind of see where we're at. Or like the reality is like, going to a stablecoin model is not necessarily a negative in this.
We operate in a cash-based society.
Yeah,
like you can't. Until I can pay my local bar in Helium token, it's like that's a different story, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm really excited for this article you're talking about to get published because we went through and looked at all the on-chain activity of deployer wallets over the last 9 months, and like there is a functional structural imbalance in DePIN tokens because you have forced sellers either through you have to sell your emissions or just because the price continually goes down, and that net imbalance is not something where you see in any other crypto token or frankly any other kind of financial asset because it's all like buy sell based where you like outside of stock options or other people that maybe get or like get equity in a company, but generally speaking there's not this massive net supply imbalance, and so price discovery happens like at the marginal trade, and in DePIN you just don't have that, and so that's what you've seen. You either need to have such positive market momentum where you got a lot of speculators that are continually pushing the price up, or you've got significant revenue, much more than what you've got now, because it ranges anywhere from like 60 to 80% of net sell, and like on a like the total impact to the market, obviously it's liquidity based, but you can see where you'll have a couple percent per month and just more net sell pressure, even with on-chain buy activity. And so without having a different implementation approach, like I'm convinced that once this data comes out, every tokenomics model is going to need to say, okay, we're going to have to do something different in the future. Like there's no way around it. I mean, and you can infer that anecdotally based off what you're seeing, because you can go to pretty much any DePIN chart on like CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap and see the same trend. But the data is really clear that there's a significant more amount of forced sell pressure as a result of the model.
So how do you see them adapting their models after they have that info?
Existing DePIN tokens it's gonna be tricky. Honestly, I don't really know without like major governance overhauls what you do about it. It's more for new DePIN tokens where like you don't just copy and paste the same playbook that Helium and other ones have done. It's gonna be something a little bit different. There is also an interesting correlation. I sent Brad some of this data last night, but based on the amount of net sell pressure coming from suppliers based on the ROI time of hardware. So there's like a almost 90% correlation to net, like how much deployers are selling and the ROI time of hardware. And I was always thinking like it was maybe going to be price dependent and that is a factor too. But the problem is you've got, and this, the other thing, inherent problem, Frushkelly just said, is emissions and DePIN, there's an ongoing UST cost to deploy. So there's that piece of it. So you already have forced sellers in the market. And then you've got other people that are like, well, I've already made my return. and the price isn't going up, so it's better for me to sell today than it is tomorrow. And so I feel very strongly after having gone through this data, and like, I mean, literally like scraping every supplier wallet on Dune for the big projects over the last 9 months, that the only way that you're going to be able to solve this is with sort of a revised approach, because there's just too much sell pressure for prices to go up, without the caveat being that if you've got a major uptick in revenue, obviously it's liquidity dependent and net sell pressure dependent. But outside of that, I just am like, it's not going to change, because market forces will always, until a inflection point where there's either so few tokens that are being distributed, or like the revenue is so significant that it can offset that pressure, that gap between, and it can be years before it happens, which can create people getting turned off and not wanting to be a part of it, which then it's just a house of cards to the bottom.
That's what we were kind of talking about with GeoNet, right? They have a halving every year. So the current revenue, what they're having coming up in June, they would be, at the end of June, would be massively net deflationary. But it's been years. Right?
Yeah.
It's taken years to get to that point where they've had decreasing, having been every year, revenue growing every year. So I Tyler and I were talking about, like, if GeoNet hits that inflection point and the token price really appreciates, and we see multiple projects do that, does that change the sentiment around speculative investors in the early stages? Are they willing to kind of like buy in downtimes and hold for 2 to 3 years, seeing that, hey, this can turn a corner? Because I think at this point we've just seen shit bleed out.
Yeah. But Skrelly, your anecdote, which is I don't bother selling Geode because I don't earn enough from it to make a different plus bullish long term. Like, I'll see if I can post it because it's part of the article, but I'll see if I can post it ahead of time. Like, there is literally a direct line between the amount of the net sell pressure from supply participants and the ROI time, and it's very much where, if you've got a project that ROIs in 2 months, it's like 90% sell pressure. GeoNet's near the bottom of that because the ROI time's quite a bit longer. And so I was kind of thinking that, like, when I was going into this research project, I was under the assumption that basically everything that you earn until the device is paid off is going to be forced sellers, because you want to recoup your hardware costs. And then after the fact, maybe it changes, it dies down a little bit. But what was interesting was that with the data, there's actually fewer people selling in the early days. And my justification for why that is like, they're optimistic. They think, oh, I've earned 30%. And so if the token 3X's, then I'll make 100%. And then over time, like on a longer period average, 3 months, 6 months of the holistic, everybody earning, that trends up towards whatever there's like a direct correlation between the ROI time and then the sell pressure. So I don't know. It's just interesting stuff that, like, when you see this, it's kind of hard to argue there's not better ways to maybe consider doing this, but I can't wait to get this shit out.
I'd be curious historically to look back to like 2022, 2023, when everything was super far down. Like, a lot of helium people were collecting helium tokens and weren't even paying attention to the project at all. I bet people were holding then. Like, early Hive Mapper people, I bet when it was like a penny before the bull run, before the big surge up, I bet a lot of people were stacking, and I bet like that percentage changed over time. It'd be interesting to see like a historical data set on that.
One thing I know Joe just said, sorry, Quez, he said fewer people are selling in the early days because there's no liquidity on tier 1, 2 exchange listings. I know I haven't looked at some of that early data from 2022, but at least anecdotally for me with Helium, I was just telling Will this before the stream, like, I didn't touch a single mobile token for like a year and a half, because there was $10,000 a day liquidity. There was like literally no point in selling. And then when that changed, and then all of a sudden it became really valuable, it was like, this is the time to sell. But I do think there's a real point to that. But sorry, Quez, what were you going to say?
I was just going to add a comment to something you had said earlier, which is, the only way that this amount of sell pressure could be counteracted is if you see these massive jumps in revenue, or at least that being one of the mechanisms by which that could happen. Mm-hmm. Even then, right? Like, even if a project is starting to generate massive amounts of revenue to offset, there's still, you might have a small group of that forced sellers group that maybe change their thesis and say, hey, perhaps it's worthwhile for me to hold on, just because of like this kind of sentiment shift that happens when you start generating more revenue. You can kind of see more uptrend. But even then, I would still say that there's the requirement that, and I love this point earlier about they're operating in USD. So like they're going to do anything possible to offset as much of their costs, whether that's rent or paying out the people that they're collaborating with. So I don't think that the pressure just goes away, right? I don't know that a project could just snap their fingers and say, oh, this is how we're going to make the sell pressure go away. It's probably a very persistent thing in most of Deepin.
Yeah, that is true. By the way, this may, I always joke about like, what's the barometer for being a real OG deepener? But what Skrelly said, I did OTC mobile really early. If you're in the Pollen OTC chat, I feel like that is what makes you a Deepin OGer. And I know Skrelly must be in there because that was the place. Like willing to buy, willing to sell. There's still people tweeting or posting in that chat, which is funny as hell to me. I'm like, I don't know what you guys are doing, but
dude, there was a short period where people are making a killing on Pollen, like the very, very early stages.
Yeah,
and then it died. like what was it, Planet Watch from that other one?
They rug pulled. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Tyler, in your opinion, is the answer to eventually just don't distribute tokens unless they're backed by revenue?
So I have a couple different opinions. Hang on, my water's coming in. 1 sec.
Wait, he's getting water delivered straight to his room, ladies and gentlemen. My goodness, Tyler balling out from all the H&T gains he made in the early days.
William, we need the Trump red button, Diet Coke button. Like,
wrong. No. My goodness, Tyler getting his Diet Coke and water delivered straight to him. What a guy! Wow. Water streaming up to the southern border.
I put out a article a while ago called the stake and stable model, which I think is a good proxy for it, which is basically you earn tokens and then you have to stake them to get the revenue upside. Like you can sell them, but you can create sort of a direct one-to-one relationship between, call it like a 10x revenue multiple of the token that would sell in the open market. But if you want to continue to get like a distribution from future revenue streams, you'd have to stake that, which could create, kind of an incentive. I haven't done like a ton of modeling around it to like do various scenario analysis to see how effective that would be. But I do think that you need to create additional incentive mechanisms other than just the token is like the medium of exchange, kind of that front-loaded equity piece, and the value accrual comes from market dynamics and then burns decreasing the supply. So like it goes up. It's almost like an endogenous dividend where the dividend is baked into the price based on these other factors through the burning of the token. But like we've seen time and time again where the time delta between that value accrual happening and everything else in between generally degrades the price to the point where it makes it really hard to continue to attract investors. And so that's why I'm like, I've looked through these things every way to 6 ways to Sunday. And so it's hard to feel like there's a different approach that won't be a better approach.
Yeah.
Now my water's here.
There's definitely no perfect answer to any of this, but I don't know. I mean, perhaps that's a conversation for people smarter than, and it's crazy because these are some of the smartest people in all the Deepin right here, but not myself included. But that would be, I don't know.
Quez, shut up. You're one of the smartest people in Deepin. Shut up.
Yeah, Quez is insanely smart.
He's the smartest Ethereum maxi I know.
And that's saying something. And guys, that is saying something because a lot of them are not the brightest bulbs on the Christmas tree lights, if you know what I mean.
I would just say my friends like me because I am multi-chain, so I get down with everybody.
Sure.
Do you MOG on each chain?
I MOG on every chain. I MOG on absolutely. I own MOG on Solana as well.
I'm gonna be honest. I was kind of disappointed you weren't wearing the Pit Vipers when we first met. I was really kind of sad.
They're only they're like a prop, basically. Yeah. No, I have other glasses that I like to wear that are more appropriate for my face.
We got something from Joe here. Here's an awesome subject matter to research. Find me a project with validator nodes or equivalent enterprise level processing nodes which are profitable.
Define profitable.
Is Akash an answer? Are you anti-Akash?
Define profitable. I love that. What is so? Wait, are you actually like making money on these things, or?
Yeah. Wait. What's the context? Like the protocol is generating revenue, or that the people standing up the supply are making money? That's maybe like one thing to consider.
Do you have to be a 1%er to run a validator node? That's the question, right?
True. Real.
Yeah.
And also, when you say project, are you talking about like, are you encompassing all of crypto? Like you're saying like L1s, meme coin, whatever the fuck, like everything. Like you're just encompassing everything, deep and included, of course. Because I mean, if we're gonna consider helium hotspots, nodes in this instance, I mean, I've been very profitable on my really awesome deployments.
I was gonna say the nice part about DeepIn is it's such a low overhead once it's it doesn't take a lot to run. It may take some money to buy the hardware, but it doesn't take a lot to run. So you're pretty profitable all the time. Your gumball machine makes a lot of money. So
set up, for example.
So he's adding Solana validator. Okay, that's what he's saying. Not compute projects.
I mean, what's your list though? I mean, you got Ethereum, you got Solana,
and then 619 just said, "Here's an easier one. Find me a profitable DeepIn project."
I mean, there's people standing up businesses. One thing we haven't talked about, by the way, just a quick moment, if I can, in case maybe you guys did talk about this when I walked away, but making bank, settling with LAX. Activating LAX. I feel like that's a huge win. That's like
huge. Getting all those protesters cell coverage, man.
That's right. Yeah. Getting like
exactly.
Hell yeah.
I know we memed it a little bit, but like still, that's
a big win. My question for that is like to what because I know that he's contracted with someone inside of the Atlanta airport as well. Did he contract with the airport, or was it like a restaurant or a barbershop in the airport? I'm assuming it was the latter.
True.
Which is still amazing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not downplaying what he's done, but I do like to clarify that. Just so that we're not saying that the entirety of LAX has been activated.
True, that's fair. Maybe,
but even having a hotspot in an airport is a big freaking deal. Because even just getting the clearance to like the restaurant, I mean, I remember when they had like the whole Miami airport. I'm like, okay, what's the play to get into the Miami airport? And like, that was a very that's a long, strenuous road. But good on him.
I'm talking to a restaurant right now that has 3. I'm here in Jacksonville, and this guy owns 3 restaurants in Jacksonville. Well, he has 1 in the airport, so hopefully that goes very well. So I might be in Jacksonville Airport here, guys. Helium might be in Jacksonville Airport here soon enough.
619 said, "Find me a profitable DeepIn project." I mean, there's probably not a quote unquote profitable DeepIn project yet, depending on how much is how much raised and what the revenue is. I mean,
but you can argue that a lot of publicly traded companies don't operate in profit. They operate in losses every year. You know what I mean? So it's all kind of like, what do you mean? Do you mean like as a deployer, is it profitable to deploy, or are you meaning like the actual project as a whole?
I think he means the actual project.
Okay. So which brings us into they need capital to grow and expand and do that. And that's part of the problem is like we're extracting so much value out of the projects. They don't have enough money to expand quickly enough.
The treasury from their token makes them profitable, right?
That's funny, Tyler. That's really funny. I think that if you're going to put any DeepIn, if you're going to use that that metric or that perspective on saying, oh, has any DeepIn project made money? I mean, none of them then, right? Like none of them would be profitable. Yeah, exactly.
But that's modern day like entrepreneurship. Like, oh, I'm not going to make money until I do my big exit, right? So it's kind of like the eye of the beholder. What's your goal as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, right?
Flip. We're gonna flip, Brian. That's what it is. That's the goal. It's flip.
I mean, for most of them, we've only seen revenue really turned on within the last 2 years. Most in the last year.
Well, the Syndico report, just speaking about Solana DeepIn strictly, the Syndico report, what was it, back in January, those like top 6 D pins were only making like 500K a month, and now they just reached over 2 million a month. You know, just recently.
I think
so, I mean,
more time.
But yeah, it's going to take more time. I mean, last market cycle, Helium showed, okay, you can use tokens, give people tokens to like build out a network. Cool. We figured that out. Then there's like, okay, we need to find product market fit, figure that out. And now it's like, okay, revenue's turned on. And now we're like, okay, we need to look at tokenomics models. How do we accrue value to the token holders better? Like, do we, we need to give out probably less tokens on the front end. At the beginning, Helium didn't fucking know if it'd work. So it's like they gave out a ton of tokens at the beginning. Yeah. Now we know that that works. So now we can get a little bit more stingy on the front end and, be more deliberate about how we give out tokens early on. We can, they're finally announced open market buys to accrue more value to token holders. So I think it's an evolving thing.
Yeah, well, that's part of the challenge, right? Is that like we're experiencing business model innovation alongside trying to build a business and find product market fit. And so, we have these conversations all the time where there's so many different disciplines that you really have to execute on quite well. And because they're all so seemingly disconnected and kind of hard to think through without actually just doing it and see what happens, it makes it, a little bit of a, like you can have kind of a strategic or an intelligent way of arriving at a decision, but until you've let it play out in the real world, it's hard. And so, I think that the nascency of the industry, and more importantly, how nascent the actual model is and seeing what works and doesn't work, is going to take quite a bit more evolution until we get projects that are like, oh yeah, we distributed $10 million in value and we're creating $20 million a year, $50 million a year. I don't think that's not going to happen. I think it will happen. But to Brad's point, which is a really key one, we had to go through all those evolutions to be able to arrive at, now we realize what not to do in the future.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but we're light years ahead of where we were just 3 years ago.
100%.
And you look at the talent and the founders of some of these projects that have come in. There's a lot of smart people working in this space. And I think there's a lot of projects that have launched this year that are already generating revenue before TGE, that already have product market fit. So we are just like night and day from where we were. And I think we'll get to a point where the tokenomics models will get flushed out over time, and then we'll find out what works best, and then we'll have small iterations off of that. But I think it's only going to get better over time, in my opinion. But there's always going to be bullshit projects that come up, like brushing your teeth and stuff.
Well, I think as
you guys
yeah, every day, twice. As I've grown and developed as a deployer and as an investor, and watching tokens grow and the pitfalls of launching tokens and all this stuff, I've actually respect projects that delay their TGE to let their project grow and develop more, because I know that it's going to benefit the project in the long term. It makes them more investable. If I know they're throwing out too much value early on, too much tokens early on, it's less investable in my eyes. I might as well wait another year, 18 months, let that project mature, and then whenever they actually do TGE, it's actually worth something. Versus,
I think that's true to a point though, because there are also projects that they're like, oh, we're just delaying, delaying, and it becomes like a multi-year 2, 3, 4.
There are BS projects out there that are just delaying it because they have nothing and they're just playing the game. Yeah,
and especially if they have people that have invested into hardware or whatever, like then they're kind of playing with people's money a little bit.
Oh yeah,
but there's definitely like a balance in that, right? Because you can't hold on to people's in funds too long and then keep looking stuff out. But I agree.
There's a stress point there, right? There's that fine line of like, all right, are you selling hardware just to get capital, or are you selling hardware because you're about to launch and you need
and I mean, look, if there's genuine reasons for pushing things out and you're showing progress along the way, that's one thing. It's like, I mean, if we kind of joke about the Brusho example, but have you seen anything about Brusho after they started selling fucking toothbrushes? Like, I sure haven't. So I mean, it's a
No.
little bit ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
Good. I need eggnog anyway.
Nice.
Oh, the eggnog special.
Oh, let's do this.
I have never been a eggnog on Thanksgiving kind of person, but
it's a dessert drink. It's very much a dessert drink.
I respect it.
Post meal.
I'm one of those weirdos that I get an eggnog latte one time a year because they make me feel like shit, but I'll definitely do it once for the one time because they are delicious.
Dude, eggnog is addicting. Oh my gosh.
And pro tip, the Nordstrom E-Bar doesn't cut their eggnog, so it's extra delicious if you get it from there.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm big with the only seasonal drink that I ever have at least once a year is the peppermint mocha from Starbucks. I do take one of those lattes at least once a year. When
I know you get down on PSL season. No,
nice. Yo, I wanted to talk about real quick in regards to projects that have recently delayed their TGE. I know like there's some folks that do that, and it's quite a bearish sentiment, but at least one that I think is kind of positive. I like Wingbits. I think that was a smart decision. In fact, they made a really interesting choice where if you wanted to claim 50% of what you have accumulated so far, at least if you had more than 15,000 wings, then you could stake it at a set price, and they allocated 400,000. Quite personally, if I were in that position, if I was a deployer, I don't think that's a worthwhile thing, but like at least you're giving your community the option if they've, have been in here, enabling the ecosystem for all this time and they want to take some cash out, some capital out, they could do so. So
really, gotta love Ryan. No, I'm actually drinking a Irish red ale. It's delicious. So hope you're enjoying your Thanksgiving, dude. Fuck off.
That was fun. Dude, that's his second shot at you today, by the way.
Yeah.
Man, making enemies over there.
Shots fired. Brad and I were talking about this. So I actually bought I have two GeoNets. One of the GeoNets I bought was the Wingbits dual miner. And I'm kind of, I don't know. Why did I pay the almost twice as much to get the one that can do the Wingbits? I'm excited about what they're doing. I was telling Brad this too. And I'm not insinuating this is a rug pull by any means, but I gave a presentation at Deepin at ETH Denver a couple years ago, and one of the examples or case studies that I talked about in my presentation was Wingbits. And the thing that I specifically said was, I was like, we talk about these rug pulls in Web3, but there was a rug pull in Web2 where basically before Wingbits, the way that it worked was it was mostly a enthusiast contribution network. So people that were pilots or aviation enthusiasts would contribute, and then they got access to the flight data dashboard as a compensation mechanism, if you will. And then I guess that was bought out by a private equity fund and they took that away. So all of these enthusiasts disconnected from the network because they're like, why would we continue participating? There's no upside or value from it. And then I'm like, man, I use Wingbits as an example of kind of the antithesis to what was going on. And now I feel slighted a little bit because they're going to be delaying. And they're not a TGE or launching a token isn't off the table. I guess they said indefinitely suspended so they could bring it back at some point. But I'm like, this is kind of ironic that I use them as an example against the Web2 rug pull, and here we are. But I mean, look, I get it. The market sentiment's not great. There's a lot of projects that are super, super high quality projects that said this isn't the right time for us. I know Tashi's in that boat. They agonized about the decision as far as I'm aware. And so, it's not like, oh, these projects are less than. It is just a reality of the situation. But it's unfortunate that has to be part of the decision-making factor. I think you can make the argument both ways. That if you launch in a bear, the worst thing that can happen is the price can only go up but I get that you need to signal appreciation for a variety of other factors. And so, like the long-term strategic benefit in terms of how you actually execute to get there can be dependent on some of these shorter-term mechanism or these metrics. And so I get it. I totally get it, but it is a little bit frustrating, at least for me on the Wingbit side. I will say that.
I like cranberry sauce.
You like cranberry sauce? Oh, well, damn,
Yeah.
Brad. Ryan's not a fan of you. Yeah, thank you, Ryan. Happy Thanksgiving. But no, Tyler, I definitely agree. I think if you're a project who's been building up to TGE for quite some time now, I mean, delaying it by another couple of months to me is not a massive deal. I can see how the community would say otherwise, of course, but I just think overall, if you think that delaying it gives you a net benefit over maybe launching it right away in this really negative sensitive market that we're in, then by all means go for it if you think that's the way to go. But I agree that it is a little frustrating, especially in Wingbit's case where I feel like the TGE has been delayed kind of what's that word, in perpetuity.
Yeah,
it feels somewhat like that. Yeah, indefinitely. There you go, indefinitely.
They said maybe Q1. It was interesting listening to the call. I mean, he said market conditions were not the issue. I imagine that had some sort of an impact on their decision, but I think he mentioned that they looked into what it would take to get listed on exchanges, and he's like, yeah, you have to play this game. Yeah, man, like getting listed on exchanges is a racket for real. So it's crazy. It really. I mean, in the bear markets, though, alts have been in a bear market really since January. Let's be real. Generally, like the cost for listing goes down compared to bull markets. They require demand a lot more when the market's up. So I don't know, man. Is Dabo still on track? I mean, they're supposed to be
Yeah. So just there's been talks. I will say there's been hints that hey, TG might get delayed till January or February, but overall, we're still the team is still on track to go on December. They had everything laid out and they're ready to go for December. But as far as I know, there has been like whispers, if you will, of that. But that's all I'll say. I mean, there's nothing been confirmed, of course. I think December is still planned. December is still the planned on date.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know. All I know is projects that are launching right now, I'm waiting a few days to see how much they drop and then seeing if there's an attractive entry point. I mean, we saw that with 375 AI. They dropped down to 2.8 cents, which is absurd.
Oh, dude, absolutely amazing buying price right there.
Yeah. So
I think right now it's undervalued. I mean, 4 cents is nothing. I think Alki and EAT are easily two of the most undervalued projects in most of the space. If I'm not if I'm being honest with myself, these market caps in my mind, in my opinion at least, are so small compared to the opportunity there.
Earmuffs, Quez. Just kidding.
Would you say earmuffs?
Yeah.
Earmuffs, Quez. Earmuffs.
I'm listening in. I can't make too much commentary on certain assets, but I concur with a lot of the statements you made.
I'm going to ask that. What are you eating for Thanksgiving?
For Thanksgiving, we will be making a Cuban-styled turkey. So we season it with mojo, which is a citrusy garlic.
You don't gotta tell me about mojo, but yeah, let's let everyone else know about it. That's
yeah, I know you know about that, but yeah, Gordos. You've been to Gordos before in
Of course, bro. Of course, of course.
So yeah, that's what we do. We and then we wrap it in bacon as well, and then we let it cook so that way all the bacon fat is penetrating into the turkey while it's seasoned in this super refreshing flavor profile. And yeah, it's basically magical. So that's the main thing I'm going to be stuffing my face with, as well as more mango mezcals.
Oh man.
There we go. Ryan wants to follow all of you, by the way. Ryan, you definitely should follow all these guys. They're incredible people. I'll DM you their tags. See, I'll DM you their tags right now.
Quez, every time I see a mango forward beverage, all I can think of is your mezcal drink. I was literally at an ice cream shop a couple days ago with my kid, and they had this blended mango with tahini. And I sent a photo to Quez. I'm like, God, if they blended this with some mezcal, oh, buddy, we're hitting home.
Yo, shout out to my man Ryan. Mezcal, salud, compa. Ya tú sabes, brother. Aquí estamos.
Yeah.
I'm Cuban though. I'm not Mexican, but still.
Yeah, no. Ryan does speak Spanish. He speaks Spanish and English fluently. So
nice.
Right.
Where's Ryan from?
He's part of the Wolf team. He does a lot of stuff with Wolf Financial. So he's he mostly trades futures and stocks, but he does dabble. He likes to like learn more about the crypto side of things.
I love that. You know what's crazy? I was making this argument the other day. I don't think there's a lot of like Hispanic people in crypto Twitter. Not the other day. I made this shit like years ago, but I do not know a ton of like fellow Hispanic people in crypto, like or Latino. And I know it's crazy because like in Argentina, for example, I know it's a very crypto forward place, right? Like El Salvador is probably also very crypto forward, but so I don't like in my network, I don't have a ton of these people. All I have is like the smart deep in people, you know, like fuck.
The white.
You're like looking in the mirror. You're like, all the smart deep in people.
No.
Wes is like the only people I do deep in with are white people. It's like, God damn it.
Ryan's white also. I hate to disappoint. Ryan's white also.
Will is Floridian, which is like its own thing. Viva Mexico. We got
a little bit more diversity on the stream with Will because he's Floridian and he doesn't count as just like the regular.
I don't subscribe to any.
He doesn't subscribe to the boring vanilla, which is I guess what Brad, Brian, and I are.
We have 2 Texans, 2 Floridians, and Brad.
And Brad's from Chicago, or he lives in Chicago, so
that's like the whitest you can get too, Brad. That's the whitest possible.
They call it Chirac. I don't know.
Yeah, word.
I was gonna say that. I haven't heard any gunshots yet, so that's good.
You see Brad strapped up. He's like, well, hang on, guys, give me a second.
Got like bullet resistant glass.
He's got bulletproof vest on. It's like, hey, Brad's looking jacked over here. He's like, yeah, it's just my vest I wear on 24/7.
I want to go to Chicago.
Chicago's awesome.
I hear it's a super cool city. I'm not gonna lie. You also hear that it's Chirac, so it's like,
yeah. Look, I can say I've lived there 5 years. I've never, knock on wood, I've never like witnessed any like violent crime in person at all. If it weren't for the news, I wouldn't know that stuff's going on. I mean, that's like every city, right? There's bad parts of every city.
Yeah. Food scene, jazz scene, the
food scene,
jazz scene is like super cool.
Yeah, food scene ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out there.
You gotta get out there in the summer though. The winters are brutal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
no
terrible.
Trust me, you don't have to tell a Floridian to avoid the cold. That's not.
And I live by the lake, so it's even worse, man.
Yeah, you get all that cold air passing from up top. That's
awful. Yeah.
Dude, it's supposed to hit like 30 degrees like in 2 days here in Jacksonville. It's supposed to hit 30 degrees in Florida.
Ooh.
That's scary. That's scary, bro.
Joe's
bro, that's scary.
Brad, he said you live in the really nice part. So Brad's done well with his crypto endeavors, is what he said.
William's like, I don't even own a pair of
I met
pants.
Joe in the city one time. We hung out.
I own very little pants, actually, Brian. That's really, really good. I'm actually wearing shorts right now.
Yeah,
it's about to get pretty cold in North Texas, and I realize I don't own a coat right now, so that's a problem. I'm gonna have to solve.
When I lived in Dallas, it snowed. It was snowing in the winter. It was crazy.
Yeah, we had snow again. What 3 or 4 years ago? We had 10 days. Everybody was like snowed in. It's pretty crazy.
That was right before I moved here, so I didn't get to experience it. But it did snow the next year, and power went out. I'm like, man, you guys are all. This is lame. This is absolutely lame.
Yeah, it's pretty pathetic, actually.
It's pathetic. Ryan said 77 at my house today. It was not quite as hot. I live in Austin. It was getting close there, but it was so great because I was walking outside and I'm like, man, the best part about living here is that it kind of feels like I'm from Seattle. I'm like, it kind of feels like a decent summer day in Seattle during Thanksgiving. So I'm all for it.
Mexico, it was 77 today. Nice, nice, Ryan. He's much further south than all of us. So
yeah, but not too far from where I'm at. It probably. I mean. Not crazy far, at least.
Hey, question for you guys: what sector of DeepIn is like going to be the next big boom for us?
Robotics.
For sure.
I think robotics overall, not even just pertaining to DeepIn, I just think robotics in general. That's like the next, like everyone got like freaked out over AI. You know, everyone's like just gotten AI crazy. I think robotics is that next like wave.
Yeah, I also think that decentralized compute is gonna have another comeback. I mean, we saw a minor run on the decentralized GPU protocols back in like March, the spring of 2024, but the energy problem is gonna surface in a big way over the next year when it comes to these AI data centers being built out. You know, you have Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, like tweeting from his personal account that decentralized compute is something the president's looking at. Like, I think we're going to see a resurgence in the GPU protocols because you can actually inference from those. But I think robotics is going to be the next like theme. We saw the AI agents, but I think robotics is the next one for sure. In my opinion.
You guys? Sorry, go ahead.
I was done.
I also could not to continue to give my flowers to the 375 team, but I do enjoy doing that. Is going to be all the data that's sort of curated from these various networks. I mean, having real world, real time sensors, data collection, data curation, like those are going to be increasingly valuable as we continue to train different LLMs and as the AI boom continues to grow. I think those are going to show their value in many ways.
For sure.
So
yeah, edge data, right? 375 AI, you have Rover, you have HiveMapper, training autonomous vehicle models, edge data processing, edge data collection, like what 375 is doing. Data is going to be so damn valuable. So I 100% agree, Tyler.
If I may just take the screen here for a second. So not too long ago, the White House put out a new generation Manhattan project, like this generation's Manhattan project, in it's part of the energy.gov website, an initiative. I think it's called like the Genesis something initiative or whatever. And get this is the part that I think was the best standout. So, we shall establish mechanisms for agency collaboration with external partners possessing advanced AI, data, or computing capabilities or scientific domain expertise, including through blah, 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 whatever. But like external partners possessing advanced AI, data, or computing capabilities, there is a company out there, just like these gentlemen said.
I gotta say that if you want to keep collecting data, you better charge that phone, bro.
Yeah, word.
Brian, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, so for deployer, do you think the game is kind of changing if we're going towards robotics, AI? Are we gonna lean more towards like fractional ownership of like robots, or are we gonna continue on the route of like deploying devices or deploying apps on our phones? What do you think the trend's going to be?
I mean, I'll give you my opinion of it, which is that I think that you need the supply chain that can enable some of these networks to be able to grow and thrive. Like if you look at the intercognitive group, you've got GeoNet, you've got Rover, you've got Alki, obviously, you've got Tashi, like all of those. If it's like a hub and spoke around Alki being kind of what they're trying to do, you need those ancillary services or networks to be able to grow. And so I think really where it comes down to is like the picks and shovels for where the next growth run is going to come from. And so if you can contribute to a network that's going to contribute to those types of networks that will be part of the next boom, from a deployment standpoint, I think you're going to be in a pretty good spot. But
yeah, it seems to me like it's getting this next round is going to be a little bit more. It's going to be a learning curve to how do you contribute to earn from them in the right way. And it's going to be a little bit less like DY, like go buy a router, go deploy it. You're probably going to have a little bit more to do with setting up nodes and collecting data in some other way. So it'll be interesting. In a good way.
Ryan asked a good question, which is what's the most successful DeepIn projects to date? If you're looking at it from a revenue standpoint, I mean, Helium's at the top of that right now. They've tried and failed and tried again and kind of kept it going. I think if you want to look at the most efficient deepen projects that have been successful, I'd probably put GeoNet at the top of that list right now. So in terms of like reward distributions, how kind of scrappy they've bootstrapped the supply side of the network to start generating revenue and knowing what the market opportunity looks like, I think they're kind of the most efficient, successful deepen project, if you want to call it that. Yeah. And then there's ones that are, earlier in the cycle, like I think 375 will be one of the most successful, if not maybe the most successful project we see in the next few years. But at least as of today, that's kind of my interpretation of what would be the most successful ones. I don't know if you guys have other takes.
It's a vague question. I'll just add one. I'll say HiveMapper, as far as customer announcements, has probably been the best executor on getting Web2 customers. They've had other areas where they haven't executed as well. Let's say like on tokenomics and stuff that they're working on fixing, but there's different aspects to success, I guess.
Yeah. I love that you say that.
A lot of different metrics. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're evaluating success on token price alone, then you might be like my man Joe, aka at Cisco Cat, who might tell you that there is no good or profitable or top deepen project. Joe, not trying to sound like a hater, I love you, but
no, we need people like Joe.
We do need people like Joe. We do need people like Joe, but generally, I would agree with that list. I think GeoNet is like super efficient, really great at getting the supply side out. Like, they had the good fortune of observing how Helium operated. Helium, obviously, as a grandfather of the game, like very much. I think it's incredible that they've continued to provide a service to this point, right? And that people are still coming onto the network and using it. So like that's also a brilliant example, despite some of the critiques that some of my peers might have, myself included. And then I would also what was this in the HiveMapper? I think HiveMappers, again, a lot of people are big haters of the token price mainly, but like from a business perspective, I think they're day and night better today than they were 4 years ago. Like, no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, Brad's definitely right. Like if you go look at some of the customers that they're servicing, it's pretty impressive. I mean, from Volkswagen to I think NBC is one of their customers. They've got quite a few Fortune 500 companies that are buying directly from them, which is super impressive.
For sure. By the way, Bitcoin just hit 91K. Let's go.
I am so convinced that like somebody's trying to make this Thanksgiving less awkward by just getting it as close as it can to where it was. So we don't have a
couple, multimillionaires out there dumping into it. Like,
you just have Kobe. Like, I got you guys. Don't worry about it.
Thank that person.
Trivia. It's in Mexico and America, not North America, but the USA, as far as I know. It's technically North America. Yeah.
Starting to expand to Mexico should be the clarification. No, that they're not in Mexico.
No, they're in Mexico. They've had a partnership with Telefonica for a while. There's hotspots deployed. The revenue is going to turn on in like this next month here. So
got it. Okay, so sorry, that was the distinction. Then is that the revenues coming on chain is not that
What I think is really interesting, by the way, about their Telefonica, so like Movie Star, which is a brand of Telefonica, they actually sell Helium hotspot devices directly in their retail stores, which I think is kind of cool.
That's
I think it's
great.
Pretty cool.
I think that's
Ryan,
the game.
You get some.
Yeah, for real, Ryan. Como está en México, bro, debería aprovechar porque.
Yeah, start deploying some Helium hotspots, Ryan. You'll love it.
There's a ton of people that are not activated.
That was the lightest C I've ever heard in my life.
C. Yeah, exactly. You should take advantage, is what I said. You should. Because as far as I know, I only know one mass deployer in Mexico, which is a gentleman called Pepe Ortiz. Pepe, I don't think you watched the show, but if you're listening right now, shout out to you, man, because I see the work that you're doing.
The LongFi guys are pretty active in Mexico too.
Word, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Respect. Yeah, LongFi, man, those are like enterprise deployers right there.
Yeah, they're probably the top of the list for enterprise level deployment.
Like large scale deployment.
Ironically, the very, very first podcast I ever did was with the Long Fi guys. They're great.
Nice. We should bring them on too. They probably have like some unique perspective to share.
We have to get them on next week. We have to now.
Yeah, why not? Right? DM away.
But by the way, Ryan, I believe they also still have. I haven't checked in a long time, but I believe they still have a few of the boosted hexes. So they've got 5 and 10x zones, boosted zones, where like you basically earn additional rewards for deploying in those areas. So if you go to the Helium Explorer, you'll be able to see certain areas that are lit up in blue. So if you're close to one of those and you're able to get a hotspot location, it'll make you more money.
There you go. Yeah, Ryan loves making money, dude. I'll DM you all this on Slack, bro. Don't worry.
Who's ready for the banana zone, as Ralph Paul would put it?
God, please.
All right.
Ready for the
I've seen what you've done for others. Oh man, yeah. Fuck.
I need a banana zone desperately right now.
I'm ready for Mog to rip to $1, bro. That's what I'm ready for. I want to be a fucking billionaire.
In the energy space.
Yeah, there's a couple that I can name off the top of my head right now. There's Daylight. Yeah, Daylight, and then there's Arcreen as well. It's ARKREEN. Glow too.
I think Glow is probably the most interesting for the solar farm specifically. So it was the founder of the SIA network, which is like a distributed storage network, kind of predates Filecoin to some extent. So he's the one behind that. They've got a carbon credit component, so they're trying to like weed out bullshit in the carbon credit space, which is interesting. So, but David Vorik in particular is like a legitimate Chad from Big Brain Energy standpoint. So they're another one that's worth checking out
for sure.
Yeah, D-Charge too for charging networks.
D-Charge
is another one.
Yeah. I like the solar farm one that Tyler's talking about. Like, I think that makes a lot of sense. And then, yeah, D-Charge. I mean, because I have an EV, I can tell you, depending on where you are, having access to additional charging networks can be very useful.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Have you been stranded before, Brad? Is that what you're saying? You've been stranded?
I was in Michigan visiting a buddy, and it was like super cold. So your battery capacity sucks when it's cold. And I had to like go on a crazy drive trying to find access to charging, and all of them were full. It was an absolute nightmare. And it's also, you have to think about it. It's like, around Detroit area, they're like very much old school, like vehicle manufacturing. They hate EVs.
Yeah.
So they're not building out like a lot of charging infrastructure. But it was a nightmare, dude. I was like, I would go to one. I'm like, I can't wait here for this whole line of cars to charge. Like, yeah, it was. I barely made it. It was close. So
nice.
Run to Home Depot, buy a freaking generator, and plug that bad boy up.
Yeah. If you keep it in the vehicle at all times, you basically have infinite energy. So
isn't that funny though to think about? Like, people are buying EVs and they're like using like a gas power
in order to charge it. It's the best.
To charge it, yeah.
So funny.
Most of the power in the Midwest, those like coal anyway. So it's like using coal to charge your car. So it's like whatever.
I wanted to add one more to the list, which is a frequent on some of Will's shows, which is the gentleman from Sourceful. Then there's another one.
Victor, or is that Victor?
Yeah, Frederick. I think
Frederick.
Yeah, he's awesome. I think that the issue when you look at the energy stuff is they just hit so many barriers with bureaucracy and restrictions and honestly just monopolies, and it's just a nightmare. So I think they got to do something with all the regulations in order to enable this technology. And I think like Utah is probably headed the right direction, because they just had you're actually able to put solar panels up at a fraction of the cost, because now you can put them up and you can literally just plug it into an outlet, like a regular receptacle or battery, and then the receptacle, and it reduces the cost of deploying it dramatically. So I think as soon as they do that, then you'll be able to buy them. It'll be awesome. So
yeah.
What were you saying, Tyler?
Happy Thanksgiving. I was going to say, Brad's our resident energy expert.
Yeah, I worked in solar for like 15 years. So, yeah, the utility scale, like I said, makes sense. I talked to the Daylight folks. Like they got the $75 million investment. It's basic. I mean, it's basically going to like a lease product. So I sold a lot of lease product through my channel. Because I managed like Illinois to start with, and I managed like 10 states in the Midwest. Pushed a lot of revenue through there. Like by the end, like 120 million a year, using mostly the lease product. So I talked to them. I mean, I hope they'll figure it out. Like Illinois is one of the markets they're moving into. It's a really difficult market. I have sales teams I can connect them with, but they got some things to kind of figure out. But the fact they raised 75 million is, I mean, that's meaningful, obviously. But the residential solar game is tough, man. It's a really tough industry to be in. Most solar companies in the residential side are running on between 3 and 7% margins. If they're profitable.
That's insane.
It's tough. I mean, and also, I mean, you price projects to be competitive on the front end, but there's just like between the permitting, the red tape, you know, when you're doing home improvement projects that include electrical and all the extra permitting, like it's not too hard to have that profit margin you thought you had get chewed up, man. It happens quick. So I consulted a lot of companies, and we would dig through their books and find that like they thought they were making a lot of money, and some were actually in the negative.
That's what I was saying. I think Utah's, the first state to really figure it out, like allow you to bypass a lot of that other stuff, because as soon as you can just put it into your hardware and just plug it straight into a wall and it works, like, and you don't have all that red tape, it's gonna reduce the cost of deploying these things dramatically, and we'll see a lot more go up. So I think Smarter Every Day, the YouTube channel, I think he did a pretty big deployment and videoed it all and talked about it.
Word. Well, Thanksgiving's tomorrow. That's exciting, guys.
It is. Eat some turkey.
But what are your plans? What I know we're gonna wrap here soon, boys. So I was gonna ask, what's everyone's plans for Thanksgiving? I know it's 2025 markets look a little iffy right now, but I'm feeling pretty good, man.
We might get there before tomorrow. We might wake up, Bitcoin's at 100K, and we're gonna have the best fucking turkey dinner ever.
Tyler, what are your Thanksgiving plans? I'm gonna throw it.
Yes. Oh shit. I'm going to my parents' house for Thanksgiving. Kind of doing a little bit of a smaller scale. It's just gonna be us and my kiddo. I've got my brother and sister-in-law coming in on Friday. I'm doing prime rib on Friday, which I'm excited about. Got some good sides. No turkey this year though. Actually, I told my mom. Good. I won't bore you with the details, but basically, I finally convinced my mom to let us do prime rib. I did it, and she's like, we'll just keep doing this for Christmas because it was too much back to back, even though I'm going to be doing it on Friday. But I said I really don't want turkey. I'd love to do Cornish hens, and so we got a rotisserie. We're going to do the Cornish hens on the rotisserie. Quite excited, but that's what I'm doing, and then probably also finishing this report.
Nice. There you go, Brian. What do you got planned for Thanksgiving?
Going to in-laws. Traditional turkey, stuffing, green bean casserole, old fashioned.
Hey Brian, can I ask you a question about your stuffing preferences? Are you a stovetop stuffing guy, or are you a real make it from scratch? Because
I'm a neither, dude. I hate stuffing. I'm not.
You hate stuffing?
I'm not a fan. Maybe I just haven't had the right stuffing.
That's my favorite part of Thanksgiving is stuffing, by the way.
I love stuffing. Stuffing's amazing.
I love stuffing. It's so good, dude.
A good sweet potato casserole can be good too.
Oh my god!
Oh so yeah, dude.
Good green bean casserole, man.
Ooh, I'm kind of weird though about my the least bougie thing about me is that I really only like stuffing out of a box. Like I love stovetop stuffing, and I hate the real shit.
The least bougie thing.
Crazy.
Look at DHH. How can you possibly hate stuffing?
I'm a picky eater. Honest with you, I'm a pretty picky eater. So.
Look, Ryan's coming out here. I'm going to drink Modelo and learn about D-Pins. I love both of those things. Thank you, Ryan.
We've onboarded one person. This show is officially a success. Cheers to Ryan. Huh? Yeah,
honestly, this has been incredible, Ryan, because I've been trying to onboard him for so long. I've been like hopping on the Wolf Financial Spaces when they're talking about like trading, Forex and indices, and I'm just like, yeah, I really love D-Pins, guys. And they're just like, oh, just go away, Will. Like, we don't want to talk to you right now. Ryan, this is awesome. Thank you.
Oyster stuffing for the win.
Oh,
right.
just so you guys know,
Okay.
we are
Listen.
about to hit a year with Deep in Happy Hour.
Yeah, I was about to
legit.
say, when was our first show?
I think it was last year, one of the last 2 weeks of the year, or 2 or 3
Yeah,
weeks of
we
the
have
year.
to do like an annual like.
Yeah, we
I'm
haven't.
gonna
You
look
gotta
back.
get Corey back.
I was gonna say we should all message him like, bro, we're about to hit a year. You need to just
I'll
come
call
back
us
on.
work again. I'll call us work again, guys. I'll figure out.
As long as I'm still allowed to stay.
Yeah. Brad's like, who the fuck is Corey?
Brad, you're out. Adios.
Like, damn, man.
There you go.
Brad, what are you doing?
I'm in St. Louis right now, man. That's why I got the sweet background. Yeah, I'm hanging out with the fam. We all get together, have some good food, and I'm on board with the replacing the turkey, man. I'm not a huge turkey guy. I like the dark meat over the white meat. I just think like the white meat just can be like kind of dry, man. I'm just not a big fan of turkey, honestly.
Just cook it right. Like,
No,
Even if it's
you
cooked
can't
right,
cook
bro.
it right.
I've tried everything. I convinced us to do the deep frying of the
that's
turkey.
awful.
Just
do
try
it.
That
everything.
wasn't very
like-
good.
Dude, you got to
Taste
take
it
the
with as
herb
much
butter and you got to shove it between the skin and the
It
turkey
doesn't matter.
breast.
You cannot put enough butter on a turkey to make it
Yes,
taste
you
better
can.
than other birds. I'm just
I agree with
What
Tyler.
other birds do you eat? Oh, chicken, I guess. But yeah.
Cornish hens. If you've
Cornish
never had a
hens.
Cornish hen, they're really good. And prime rib,
Yeah, really good.
elite.
Tyler's like, yeah, you never had a great parrot?
It's a macaw, guys.
Yeah.
I eat macaw.
I like my exotic bird with my stovetop box stuffing, guys. That's how I do it.
Dude, oh, that sounds so good. Yeah, Ryan said a steaming pile of dog shit is greater than cranberry sauce. I have to agree with that.
Whatever.
I don't see the vision.
I feel attacked.
Even HQ said you all need to come to Louisiana to eat turkey. You aren't cooking it right. I am open-minded that if you can make a phenomenal turkey, we'll do a little happy hour around it. We'll see how it's done. We'll eat turkey together, and we'll go
Be
from there.
honest.
We're
We'll
gonna
give
have
our feedback without holding punches.
Exactly.
Will, what are
exactly.
you doing? Are you driving golf carts?
Yeah. So I'm in Jacksonville, seeing the family. Drove a golf cart here to a very famous Irish pub on the beach. Guy Fieri's actually been here before. He rated this place. There was like a video of it. It was really cool. But yeah, I'm here right now for Thanksgiving tomorrow. We're going to be doing turkey, just standard turkey dinner. There, my dad's like preparing it with some stuffing there, and we're also doing a lot of BLT dip that my wife is making. BLT dip is quite incredible. If you guys have not had it before, highly recommend having it when you're up here seeing me or over here seeing me. Quez, you too, come up here, enjoy some BLT dip. Yeah, BLT dip's very, very, very good. But yeah, just pretty standard Thanksgiving dinner, seeing some family, just hanging out, and then driving back home, doing some more work. So nothing crazy, but yeah, gonna have some fun.
And Quez has got his bacon dripping rotisserie.
It's a bacon wrapped turkey with mojo seasoning that we seasoned the night before, so it sits overnight, and then we bake it in the oven and a ton of butter at the end just to make sure it's like nice and moist all the way through.
Okay.
On top of that, we add, because al estilo cubano.
My mouth's watering right now, by the way.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna make. Hold up, I got more. We do congri, which is like the dark rice with bacon and black beans, and then we'll do a side of yuca, which has caramelized onion and garlic on top, and then we'll add the green bean casserole, which that's my mother's recipe. Fucking fire! That's not a Cuban thing at all, but we just throw it down.
God, so
Absolute gas.
I love green bean casserole, dude.
My auntie throws it down with her cheesy corn, super fire. We have mac and cheese baked as well, crazy fire. I mean, that's just a simple.
I want to go to Quez's Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
My God.
wait, there's more.
Can we do this again next weekend?
Sides, you can get down
Bro,
on
y'all don't know. And the best part is like, so I got Miss Quez, her family's coming over. Her family's Venezuelan, so we got a bunch of I'm gonna say a bunch, but like several Venezuelan treats or whatever, I guess you could say. So we're super excited. It's gonna be hella cultural.
She's really cool, by the way. I wanted to throw that out there. You met
Yeah.
Miss Quez. Really cool.
Yeah, Miss Quez is the fucking shit. We love Miss Quez.
I'm about to tell my family I'm not going to be here. I'm flying down to Florida for Thanksgiving.
Be like, listen, I got my homie that I do the show with. Like,
yeah,
they're all gonna pull up.
yeah.
Hey man, listen, we got space. We got the Dominoes. I don't know if you guys fuck with Dominoes like that, but we exactly. Toma, exactly like that.
Toma.
Java hotspots in there. We'll go.
I can say with certainty Quez is gonna have the best Thanksgiving of everybody here.
I think we all
whatever Ryan said there for you.
Yeah, he said al estilo cubano, solo no me des tu café que me pone ansioso. So it's like, just don't give me your coffee because it makes me anxious.
You know why?
Coffee is intense.
But y'all play Dominoes, really?
Oh, dude, yeah, like that's part of the game. And so, by the way, Dominoes is not a usually play with 4 people, 1-1-1-1.
Mm-hmm.
One might think that you play it kind of like on the solo, but that's not the case. You play on teams. So, like, the person you're facing is your teammate, and then same thing on your sides. Those 2 are teammates. And the idea is to have the least number of dominoes at the end, like before the match gets locked up. So. Yeah, we throw it the fuck down, man. A lot of rum, a lot of whiskey, a lot of old fashions. Old fashions are big in the house.
Hell yeah!
You have the
Luxardo chairs.
Drinker. So
I have those at the house, Brian.
Necessary for the old fashioned. By the way, Quez, I was gonna say that out of all the different ways I've experimented with turkeys, or cooking them, I should say, I've never wrapped them in bacon. That does sound like it could be a game changer for making that thing a little bit more flavorful. Got all that bacon fat on there. God damn, I'm hungry. I'm ready for tomorrow. I'm so ready to eat.
Have you guys ever like oven roasted a rotisserie chicken with a giant Budweiser can inside of it?
No, I've never done that because I'm too nervous to get the paint leaching into the chicken from the heat.
That won't happen. That won't happen. I have to say it was amazing. The beer chicken was incredible.
Yeah, beer chicken is fire, actually. Yo, Ryan's talking about playing Loteria. Yeah, I got plenty of Mexican friends, so I've played my fair share of Loteria. But I do prefer Dominoes. I think Dominoes just has more like personality to it.
I feel like this Quez Ryan relationship is, did we just become best friends? Like that's what I'm
doing.
So
Ryan's gonna like
for activities.
I don't get a hold of this guy. He's like, let's talk. Let's talk.
Tell Ryan to fucking hit me up, dude. Like, let's connect.
I just sent him a DM with your Twitter profile, so I was like, yeah, you need to connect with all these people. I just like send them all your guys' profiles.
Nice.
I love it. So this has been fun, guys.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. This is a great conversation. We got to chop it up. We hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving and you get to enjoy time with family, friends, reflect on the year. There's a lot to be grateful for. There's a lot that's tumultuous, but there are brighter times ahead. And with that, I think our friend Quez is a soundboard to put us on for the final wrap up.
Yeah. So this is I'm just gonna throw it to a Venezuelan band known as Rawayana. This song is called Game Over, and it's just how I'm feeling. So again, like I love what Tyler said. Please take a moment to share some gratitude, like reflect on your life and the things that you have to be grateful for. If you are alive and healthy, or you're already richer than most people would imagine, you might look at your portfolio and say otherwise. But remember, a healthy man wants 10,000 things, but a sick man only wants one. So remember what it's about. Come on.
Game over to the Bears.
It's game over for the Bears. Come on. Wait a minute. Come on. That's what I'm talking about.
There we go. Let's go.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming back to the Deep End Happy Hour. Do not be a bear. That shit's gay.
Catch us again next week, Thursday, 8 p.m.